And as I said, I didn't know what a good school you had here, how highly regarded some of your programs were in the medical areas, the dental school, the business programs, exercise science, law. And I know there's been the philosophy here that dates back to President Greiner and Simpson has continued on the tradition here of trying to raise the profile of this university through athletics. And it is a formula that works, as you saw on that tape. Boston College being the great example. In my neighborhood, in the 1970s, Boston College was a very ordinary academic institution, largely a commuter school. I was growing up there in Boston at the time, had no interest in going to Boston College. Their athletic facilities were crumbling. They suffered through a winless football season at about that time. It was actually kind of a humorous historical footnote because they finished their 0-11 season playing a game against Temple in Japan. It wasn't a bowl game or anything. They just decided before the season started they were going to finish the last game in Japan. And this is a true story. So Mike Mayock, who I later worked with at CBS, was a very good player on that winless Boston College team. And they were in Japan. He said one gentleman came up to him in Japan and said, "Oh, Boston College, very good team," Japanese fella. And Mike said, "No, you know, sometimes, but not this year." No, Boston College, very good. And Mike said to the Japanese fellow, "No, he's not, we're not good this year." He said, no, very good. And then the interpreter told Mike, "You have to remember, over here we read from right to left. They think you're 11-0. So, but then along came a little guy by the name of Doug Flutie. And suddenly they caught lightning in a bottle, and they had all those dramatic finishes, and they figured out how to win games at the very end. And maybe they had a little divine intervention on their side when Gerard Phelan caught that pass in the back of the end zone against Miami. And suddenly they were winning and going to bowl games and getting on national TV. And then young men and women all over the country started to think about, well, Boston College, that's in Boston. I'll look into it, explore it, talk to my guidance counselor about it. Before Doug Flutie, Boston College was getting about 4,000 applications a year for 2,000 spots in their freshman class. By the time Doug Flutie left, they were getting over 20,000 applications for their 2,000 spots. It became a much better academic institution as a result. They could be more selective in who they brought in. Now it's practically an Ivy League school in terms of what you have to have for your grades and SAT scores to get in there. And the money started to come in as well with the appearances on TV, the increased ticket sales and sponsorships, all the things that can happen here very easily if you just continue on the path that you're on. And now BC has brand new athletic facilities everywhere you turn. Their students graduate at a rate on par as high as any in the country. Everything that you're striving to do is what they were doing not that long ago. There are so many other examples of it around you. If you don't believe that this can just be the first step and the starting point toward much more greatness than you're already experiencing right now, look around places like South Florida. Last year they were #2 in the country. 10 years ago they weren't in Division I-A either. When I went to do one of their games 6 or 7 years ago when they'd first come up to 1A, the coaches' offices were in mobile homes, and as I was sitting there talking to Jim Levitt, the head football coach, in his office in a trailer, there kept being these loud bangs. Sounded like explosions going off the metal roof of the mobile home that we were sitting in. I finally said, "Jim, what's that? You have to deal with that all the time?" He said, "Yeah, my office backs up to the baseball field, and when they come out here to take practice, our trailer gets peppered by baseballs." So here's a guy who's now presiding over one of the top football programs in the country who not long ago was in a trailer. You might say, well, they have talent in their neck of the woods. Well, a place like West Virginia has been threatening to be one of the best teams in the country in recent years. They have 4 players a year in their state who might get, in a good year, who get a college football scholarship to play Division I. You don't necessarily have to be in a hotbed of college football talent to succeed, or high school football talent. I think as we're seeing, there's plenty of talent in this neighborhood. Maybe you don't have the tradition to build on, but other schools haven't. What had Boise State ever done till a couple years ago? Now they're in the conversation every year about perhaps being a BCS team. And that's their goal now every year, is to be in a BCS bowl game. There's no reason why you can't experience that here if you just believe in it and continue on the path that you're on. There are many other examples, and I think I've already made the point. because you have all the factors that you need for that kind of consistent excellence in place. You have the administration that I mentioned. Ward does a phenomenal job with his staff. I had fun at the expense of Andy and Paul, but I sincerely mean that they are two of the very best at what they do around the country. You have hardworking people all over the program behind the scenes who help to make up what you need to be successful. And you have the coach. You know, I've heard it said that Turner is the best young coach in America. And I heard that again this morning because Turner said it when I talked to him. You know, I think the thing that jumps out at me when I gotten to know Turner a little bit at the championship game last year and spending time with him again today, he's a man who exudes sincerity. I've often said, and I say this when I speak to broadcasting classes at places like Syracuse, most important thing to be successful in broadcasting is sincerity. And as soon as you learn how to fake that, you got the whole thing licked. In my case, I fake it. In the case of Turner, it is sincere to his core, and it's one of the reasons why I remember talking to Naaman Roosevelt last year at the championship game. He said, I wasn't even considering UB. I had been, even though I grew up there, I went to one game my whole childhood, and it was because there was a concert after the game that I really wanted to go to. I didn't really even go to see the game. And I remember Turner telling us that the first thing that he did when he got the job was to go see Naaman because Ward told him, hey, he's the best player in the city of Buffalo, go see him. And Naaman said, when Turner walked into my house, I knew I wanted to go play for that man. And that is the impact he's having on these young people to get them to come to this school, and it is certainly the kind of impact he's having on them while they're here. You should all be proud of the kind of young people you have in this program. I travel around the country, do a lot of athletic events, meet with a lot of students. These guys and their teammates are first-class representatives of what you people are trying to accomplish. Facilities are important. I know you're doing your part. You're at least on par now with most of your colleagues in the MAC. You have to continue to stay ahead in that race. That's what players want to have. And lastly, here's the part that you can do, and it's the atmosphere. You know, these players want to come to a place where people care, where they have an interest, where they come out to the games, and they make noise, and there's atmosphere. I know I'm preaching to the choir here. You're interested already because you're here. But you have a lot of friends and neighbors who perhaps haven't been to a game. They might not be aware of the success the team's having, although more and more I'm sure this community is. They certainly probably don't know what an exciting brand of football it is. A lot of times you win, it's dull, although not that dull. Usually winning's pretty fun. But here you're winning and you're doing it in a style that's fun to watch. And most of all, you're doing it with people, the players, the coaches, the administration you can be proud of, you can have faith in, you know are going to live up to the ideals that you believe in as members of this community, and I'm well acquainted with the Buffalo area from my time at Syracuse. You have a winning product. You have people you can be proud of and believe in. So the next step is for you to do your part. Get your friends and neighbors on board. Stay on board. Enjoy the ride. There are limitless possibilities here. I believe that from the bottom of my heart. And I'll be cheering for you because I believe in good people. So good luck. God bless. Thank you so much for having me here today, and go Bulls. Oh, okay, thanks.
Before Sean sits down, we want to bring Turner up. We've got a special gift.
Well, we're going to see if you're going to be true blue right here. All right? We're going to give you the true blue stuff
all
here.
Right.
Got your jersey there.
Put this on right now.
Very good. Dr. Pittsburgh Panthers.
Oh, I like it. Thank you, Coach.
All right.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much. Thank you.
12 for every year it took to graduate from Syracuse. I had to get at least one in.
12 Canadian.